Are you Renee?
I'm excited to talk about this documentary. Question mark.
Question mark.
I'm glad I'm done watching
Yeah. Yeah.
it.
So yeah, we're. So I don't know how it is where you are. I had this discussion on Friday where I've the person we had on the show is from Arizona. We had a few days last week where it was in the high 90s with the heat index of like 110 for
hmm
upstate New York. That is insane with like 90, 80 to 85 to 90% humidity.
Yeah, I've been getting updates from my friend in Jersey City.
Mhm.
It's not good, guys. It is actually
Oh,
very pleasant here for July. It's just hit triple digits like today. We had like the mildest late June, July in like that I can remember, which is nice, except when it's like hitting 110 on the East Coast, and then you're like, oh, we're all gonna die. Like,
and not just that, not just the East Coast. That was like in the middle of the country. That was all from like the middle all the way over too. It was not great.
yeah,
But we had a few days
I
where it's a little cooler, and today it actually got up in the mid 80s, which that's not unusual for this time of year. So I just wanted to say, you were in, I think in New York City last summer, and you got to experience all our
yeah.
summer humidity in the state.
It was like a record breaking humidity while I was there, which was great because I have no tolerance for humidity at all. And
Can't imagine why.
yeah, and I felt like I had to ring. I packed light also, which was a huge mistake because I had to like wring my pants out and like, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, all my clothes are disgusting. And I still have like 2 days.
Hey, just be disgusting. You'll fit right into New York City in certain parts. So
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, on Broadway
yeah.
in the audience. Sorry to anybody who maybe smelled me. No, those clothes were clean.
Hmm.
All
Yeah, I
right,
don't
Zach.
get.
Well, we'll get you covered.
Yeah. So before we start rolling with our culture, what are you drinking this evening, my friend?
As we discussed before the show, this show was weird, and every cocktail I could find that was like on theme was disgusting. Like the Pentecostal has like 17 different liquors in it. That's the only one I remember. But anyway, so I'm just having a Modelo. I I like a nice summer beer. And also my theme moment for this episode is my earrings. Just like, hey, I'm not on their side. What are you drinking?
Yeah, I don't think either of us are on their side, but oof, great earrings, by the way. So Modelo, I think we've all had it. It's good, solid summer beer, easy drinking kind of deal. I also looked for cocktails, and every single one of them was like, "Hey, would you like 8 pounds of sugar to have so you have a headache tomorrow?" I
Yeah.
decided against that, so I went with one I've had on the show before, but it's still fitting. Even more Jesus. So this is not a summer beer. This is an imperial stout. So this this is not a summer drinker, but I think it's just appropriate because Jesus can't. Um,
I do feel like we had quite enough Jesus though. I don't know if I'm in the mood for even more.
what's that?
We had watching the documentary, we had quite enough Jesus.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
really in
think
the
we
mood for
did.
more.
Well, those folks in the documentary say you need even more, like you just don't have
Mm,
enough. So
I've had plenty.
yeah, same. This is I don't have this concern, but
Yeah, Zach and I have that in common.
all right, I don't know what this is. Plausible deniability earrings. All right, that's your earrings. I was missed the earrings part. So get yourself out of it, right? So before we uh, delve into all the fun stuff, I got to find a clip here. How about talk about some news?
So
Oh,
this is
all
interesting.
yours.
This is interesting. So I don't know, like this is something I've only followed very passively. But the Pope I gotta read it because I'm not gonna say it right. Um, the Society of Saint Pius X is a Catholic faction that's extremely right wing, extremely traditional. Usually, like if you encounter somebody and they say that they're Catholic and you're like, are they Catholic in a way that might be okay? Or are they Catholic in a way that's scary? If they're going to Latin Mass, you can kind of count on them being extremely right-wing and maybe a little scary. And these are those guys, the Society of St. Pius X. And the Pope has summarily excommunicated all of them.
This is a big deal.
This is like whole church congregations. And these guys are serious about church. So these are people who go every Sunday, not Easter and Christmas, like whole church congregations. I don't know what's going to happen, guys. I think it might be bad, but the Pope's not wrong. So, well, I mean, he's wrong about a lot of things, but he's not wrong about this. So keep an eye on.
As far as I remember, that this particular sect / order, whatever you want to call it, they were also very much against Francis because they saw him as too liberal. Because he also because he was a Jesuit, which they didn't like that either. But
right, well, anything called considered Vatican II, which is where they were like, we should maybe do Mass in English and be kind to our neighbors and stuff like that. Horrible things like that. Like knowing what your priest is saying and being kind to people who are different than you.
I wonder how close they are affiliated to like the Opus Dei stuff, which was another whole thing, I think, either earlier this year or late last year, where the Pope kind of ended that whole thing and said, you can't do that anymore. And there was
the thing that I find really interesting about a lot of like Catholic cults in the more traditional meaning of the word, like the oh cool, I forgot the name of it. There's one down in Mexico, Our Lady of Guadalupe, that subcult, and people who are devotees of Santa Muerte, which also I found the weirdest article about that today that claims that Santa Muerte devotees are part of a death cult that executes children, which is absolutely not true. But anyway, like once the Catholic Church is like, you can't do that, the people just keep doing it and being like, no, but we are Catholic. It's like, but what you're doing is not Catholic according to the Catholic Church. And they're like, well, they're not right about everything. So we'll see what happens with these guys. Cause I think funny. They already thought they weren't Catholic, like that they were not, that I think they think they're Catholic and the Catholic Church is not Catholic. I think that's what's happening.
Oh, you think that they think that those folks aren't real Catholics? Kind of like most other religions where you had the most conservative one thinking that anybody else is not real part of that religion.
Yeah, but it's just like, oh, the Pope isn't the Pope.
Yeah.
So I think he's
not our Pope.
Yeah, my like looking into the future, my prediction is we're gonna hear that these guys have their own Pope soon. That's my guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. The thing I mentioned Opus Dei, part of that is to sound smart too, is because the only reason I knew about Opus Dei before that whole thing was because of Dan Brown.
Brown.
Yeah, and his whole thing with, I think that was in Angels and Demons, where he was talking about the Opus Dei sect of Catholicism and them being really strict. And and Alfred Molina playing the guy. So, by the way,
he may or may not have a family connection to that, to Opus Dei, but we'll never. I don't think we'll ever be able to know for sure. So that's a fun fact about the Pickup household.
A fun fact: Dan Brown. I read all of his books. They are my crack. They're
very readable.
Super readable, and just I love all the symbology stuff and all the intrigue around all that stuff.
I read the first 3, maybe 4, maybe.
Yeah, I have a friend who's very much into Dan Brown's books too, and she said the last one was just not good. So I haven't read it yet. So yeah, like all of them can't be gems, So
one, I think too, like certain authors, maybe all authors, but definitely certain authors. I can think of one right now off the top of my head that we both love. They could stop publishing everything they write as they get older.
Once you get to a certain level, you just that's good.
Yeah, certain authors. I not to name any names or anything, but certain authors.
I do like the Dirge poster right behind you. That's great.
Yeah.
I think I need one of those. We put it in here somewhere. But
Yeah,
not that I have a
I'll
lot of
put you one.
space. My space is very small here, so it's not like I have a lot of space. But I can
This is
figure something
the
out.
only wall in here now that has artwork that isn't mine. So
Well,
it's gonna get more and more full.
yeah, like our like living room and our bedroom and like all over our house is a lot of Jill's artwork, and I love that because then it gives the house the feel of like we're living in it because she's making art in the house, putting it up. So I
Yeah.
think it's cool that you have your stuff up on the wall. That's excellent. So
It feels weird, but whatever.
I think she feels a little weird about it too. I'm like, no, this is great. I love all this stuff. So because I can't paint worth a damn. So and before we jump into the show, one other side tangent. I tried painting once, and it was when I wanted to propose to Jill. She had a painting on an easel, and I mimicked the colors, and I painted a hand on it, and I glued like a little box, and then I put the ring in that, and the hand looks
That's
like a
cute.
Muppet hand, and it's terrible, just a terrible painting. But the funny thing was when I told her to come, hey, can you come out here? And she looked at the easel and she goes, did you ruin my painting? Because I had the color scheme right, but it was just terrible. So anyway.
Twice. You tried painting twice.
Yeah, twice. You're right. You're wrong, Zach. That was not painting. That was photography.
Speaking of things that the Catholic Church pretends that they were never a part of, I also found this fun thing while I was cleaning out. That's my signed by Linda Blair. You can see it used to be on my fridge, so it got a little wet, but her signature's still on there. So.
Yeah, I would frame that thing because that's cool. I mean, I have this Halo thing behind me that is spells from the actual game that have a certificate of authenticity too.
Oh,
it's
that's
not framed.
cool.
It's just sitting back there. I'm like, I need to actually put that in a frame and save it. But
I have a lot of shit like that, honestly. Yeah, it's bad. But
yeah. At any rate, let's talk about Jesus Camp, shall we?
Let's talk about Jesus.
So yeah, this documentary is 20 years old, which I didn't realize until like 2006. So
yeah, well, because it was it was very, as we talked about before we got here today, very fucking hard to watch from 2026. I think I've been using this as I've been talking to people about it. I think I told you it's like it is like watching footage of a train wreck while standing on top of the rubble caused by the train wreck. So it was very uncomfortable. I had to stop it halfway through. You two are ridiculous. So, like this is filmed and takes place during George W.'s presidency. We have they have actually what I thought was really interesting is this grounding point of this talk radio guy who is Christian, who's like, but not like these guys, pay attention. These guys they're taking over, which was really, I think, hard to watch because if you're one of the people who was paying attention during that time and you kind of saw that they were taking over and you were like, this is really bad. Like for the most part, people are like, no, it's not. They're never going to overturn Roe v. Wade. They're never going to, and then they did. So.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'd forgotten that it was during W's time in office. And one of the people in the documentary is Ted Haggard, which he's in the documentary about actually this cult. But the idea that he was advising to W on like a weekly basis is just bizarro to me. But because that guy was a lunatic. But hey, W was not the brightest of guys as far as I'm concerned. And yeah.
The only reason that W exists in American history is anything other than the worst thing that happened to this country is because Donald Trump then happened to this country. Like, and we can debate all day if that's like because of his own motivations or because he just did whatever people told him to. However, like he was the guy in charge. So it is what it is. I hated, the reminder of how bad he was, but
Mm-hmm.
also I think like as a country, we need to remember like there's this whole thing where he's talking about it's like we'll get like Trump will die or we'll have another election and like everything will be better. And it's like, no, like this is groundwork that's been laid for decades. It started before W.
Started in
Started
Reagan.
with Reagan.
For me, it started
Yeah.
with Reagan.
Exactly. Historic started with Reagan. I mean, this is the groundwork has been laid. Also, the Supreme Court is what it is, you guys. Like those people stay there until they die. So I think it's good, as depressing as it is, it's good to have a reminder of like, no, like there's no going back to normal because that was normal.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't quite as horrific as what we have now. But like again, that's the whole point. It comes on slowly.
Yeah. And it's not it's not an immediate coup, although Trump did try that. But it's a whole slow moving coup thing. And this really this documentary really talks about the ground floor of it is they are trying very hard to indoctrinate kids. They want kids to get.
What do you think
the
oldest kid in the documentary was probably what, like maybe 10?
What was
11?
That?
The oldest kid we encountered in the documentary?
Yeah. I mean, there were some kids in the background in the crowd that looked a little older, but I think most of them were 7 to 12, maybe.
Yeah. So we're talking about kids who are late 20s, early 30s right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who were raised in this, and we'll get into why that's terrifying as we go. But it was very hard to watch, both from like I said, from the perspective of understanding where all that led and living in that hellscape right now in 2026, but also just I didn't like watching the kids be indoctrinated like that. I didn't like watching the heightened emotion that those kids were put through.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like hearing the way they talked about themselves, because these kids were encouraged to talk about themselves like they were pieces of shit.
Yep.
And yeah, that's not okay. I don't know, like that it needs to be said that it's not okay, right? Like this was very difficult to watch for a lot of reasons, which I guess we should get, like we forgot to do our content warning.
Have at it.
And I don't even know where to start. So yeah, religious and spiritual control, manipulation of children, child abuse, lots of political shit. Lots and lots and lots of talk about abortion, just tons of it. This is not one that went like under the facade, right? Like this documentary really let them speak for themselves. That didn't necessarily make it better, but I guess what I would say is that I don't have to give you a content warning about child sexual abuse, but I would bet a lot that it happened.
Yeah.
Because these kids were so malleable and so eager to please and so indoctrinated. I just can't imagine that it didn't. And then, like I say, like for me, it's very weird and very hard to watch when children are doing like the religious ecstasy thing, speaking in tongues, all of that. I really dislike it a lot. So obviously we're going to show that. We're going to talk about it. No, it was hard because it was all about kids. And so like, to me, even though there was no like overt violence, the very act of raising children in these kinds of environments is spiritually and emotionally violent, in my opinion.
And always talking about war. Always. Everything was framed in war.
Death.
War. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the thing that, this is a hard watch, and the thing that actually really made it hard for me is like, they robbed those kids of being able to be kids. They were never able to just be kids. Never. Everything was like, you have to be on guard. The devil's coming all the time. You know, Satan's after you. And just like I said, just talking to my wife who grew up in the middle of all this, it's just her thing just being like, I lived in fear all the time. I was afraid I was afraid I was going to wake up and everybody be raptured and I'd be by myself. Like that is a real thing that lots of kids in that particular part of evangelicalism believe. They're terrified. Like just terrified at what they're going to wake up and they're going to be by themselves and all their loved ones are up in heaven and they're stuck here. And
well, let's talk about that actually, because that's one of the things I said I really wanted to focus on is the abusive aspect of this. This is okay. So if you take Christianity as a concept, not like I'm not talking about how it's practiced here, there, or anywhere else, just as a concept. The concept of Christianity is that nobody is perfect. Everybody fucks up. That's okay because Jesus came and he made a sacrifice. And because of that, you get to fuck up. You get to be a human. And the consequence is not eternal damnation. It's, it's none of these horrible things. But what we see in this documentary is like, yeah, Jesus died for your sins, but like not your sins.
That was the sins before you. Now you just have to start over.
Yeah. And so
that's what that sounded like. Yeah.
Yeah. And so these kids are just like, oh, like, one of them said like, oh, sometimes I mess up and I talk about things I shouldn't talk about, or I say words I shouldn't say. And that means I'm a faker and I'm a fraud. And like, just like, if you encountered a kid who was talking about themselves this way on any other subject, it's like, oh, people think I'm really good at math, but I got a C on my test, so I'm a faker, I'm a fraud, or whatever. You'd be like, oh no, that's not true. Like, you're
just
totally fine. Like, people fuck up. Yeah, people make mistakes. It's okay. But in this instance, these kids are being praised for talking about themselves this way. They're being praised for crying and sobbing and I'm not good enough and like feeling proud of being better than each other on topics like that came up a lot with the Harry Potter thing, which is so ironic to be on the other end of
to think about that now about who wrote that pile of shit. But
yeah, all those people probably love Harry Potter now, which is so weird, but that's it. Yeah, because none of the adults are telling the truth.
There was one instance, speaking of like these adults like praising these kids for suffering, like they're suffering because they think that suffering is like Jesus. Jesus suffered, so you should suffer too. But there's this one very particular moment in the doc where this girl is just sobbing and crying, and she's leaning against her mother, and her mother is holding like this, and she just has this most blissful grin on her face that her daughter is in emotional pain, and she's like, yes, this is what should happen. And that kind of shit just makes me so fucking angry.
There was a scene in there too that really, like, it's towards the end, and it really, like, it was like a record scratch moment for me, right? We spend a lot of time with this kid. I can't remember his name.
Levi, the main one. The kid with the rat tail.
Right. So we spent a lot of time with this kid, Levi, who's being encouraged to preach and to preach like a real preacher. And he's asked to give a sermon. And, it's obvious this is very important to him because it's been made important to him. And then he talks to that Haggerty guy at the end. Isn't it? Well, is it Haggerty or is it somebody else? I can't remember.
Haggard.
And he says that he's a preacher. And the guy just negs the shit at him. He's like, oh, are you good at it? And he's like, well, I think I am. And he's like, do people listen to you? Do they like it when you preach? And he's like, well, people seem to pay attention. And he's like, well, do you think that's because you're a kid or because of the content that you're preaching? Which that statement alone, I don't think would have really bothered me so much. But then he keeps pushing it as like the kid is talking and he's being humble. He's like, well, I don't know, instead of being like, listen to the Holy Spirit or read your scriptures and you'll do fine or fucking whatever. Yeah. He's like, oh, well, you keep going. And then when you're 30, you'll find out if it's your looks or your content. And then the kid says something else and he's like, well, you keep going. And then by the time you're an adult, you'll have good content, which is basically saying like, you suck at it. People only like you because you're a kid. You suck. It's like, what the fuck is the point of that?
Well, he actually says the term, is it because you're a cute kid, which is fucking creepy, but par for the course for dudes like that. And then he did the thing that struck me out of that was there's a lot of bad things in that, but the fact that he called it content, not the word of God, not the gospel, nothing, just content.
Which, remember, this is 20 years old.
20 years ago. This is not
So
us now.
This is not like maybe this guy just uses that term, because a lot of people just use that term about anything, right? Like if I write, I'm writing content. If I film, I'm filming content, whatever. This was not that.
No.
And I think like, and it's such a subtle thing, but it's true. Like if you say, is it because the content of what you are saying? That's very different than saying, is it the content?
Is it content? Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, yeah. But it's just the negging. It's like, that kid didn't build himself up to be a child preacher. That kid didn't make that decision on his own. He wasn't put in those rooms because he naturally wanted to. The adults led him there. The adults put him there. The adults told him to be proud of himself. And then he meets an adult that he admires. And that guy's like, no, you probably suck. I haven't heard you preach. I haven't seen what you have to say, but I know for a fact that when you're an adult, you'll be better, because anybody only cares because you're a little kid, which is so like, don't fucking talk to kids that way ever about anything, but especially not about the thing that you've manipulated them into thinking is the most important thing they can do.
Well, not only that, it's something that, you know, as I was watching with my wife, and my wife is like, they only did that to boys. They only pushed those boys to be pastors, and if you have a gift, they would be made to feel special, even if they weren't, because they were male, and they, you know, they were passionate about it, and that was enough, you know. So there was people she knew that were put in the same position, and they thought it was, they assumed they would just have the power of being a pastor, or power like that they would just get things given to them because everybody had kind of blown smoke up their ass the whole time. No, so Hager did the opposite of that, but
again, there's a nice middle ground where you don't do either thing, you know, like, and well, speaking of the whole male thing, this occurred to me while I was watching it too. And then I thought it was funny because one of the youth ministers that we spend the most time with is this Becky Fisher, who's like super, again, look, everything on this live stream is opinion. She's gay. She's gay, and she's hiding in this position because being gay is not allowed. I'm sorry. Like, there's no other explanation that you can give me. She's holding what is normally a man's position. She's got her hair cut super short, which again, in those circles, not considered cool or great or nice. I have short hair, whatever. I'm not in evangelical church where we speak in tongues either. And it's like, we never hear her talk about a partner, a husband, a boyfriend, nothing. She's always alone or with children. And I think this is something we see a lot in these circles, right? Is that people who are gay, they find like a niche that they can hide where it's okay. I mean, that's a more flattering picture than most of the times that she's in why is it $375?
Because it's some Getty images.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a portrait you could buy. I was like, whoa.
No. This was how she looked in the documentary. And again, this is 2006. Very classic 2006 Christian mom look. But she's not a mom.
She's not a mom. She's not a wife. She just comes across to me as carrying herself in a way where she kind of knows that she's playing a role. And I think, like, whether I'm right or I'm wrong, whether she's gay or she's straight, she obviously does not fit the Zach, I'm more than happy. She can come over here. We'll have a heart to heart. I'll be like, look, there's women out there who love you for who you are. You don't have to do this.
I would also like to say that the guy that she had as sort of her second in command also, I looked at Joe and said, that man is not a straight man. Joe's like, no, he's not.
But what I mean is, like, even if she's not gay, even if she is a straight woman, there's something about her that does not fit the lifestyle she's told she's supposed to live. She's supposed to be married. She's supposed to have kids. But instead, she is a single woman who interacts with other people's children. And that
Also
is
a
the
pastor.
main source of meaning in her life. I don't
Also,
think,
she's a pastor. Also, she's a pastor, but she's not supposed to be in the evangelical circles. Women are not supposed to be in those roles.
and that might be why she's not married. I don't know. But it does seem like it's a place for her to hide, whether it's because she's gay or she wanted to be a pastor and nobody wanted to let that happen. Whatever. I don't, but I got the sense that she was a little bit gay. She gives me butch PE teacher and a lot of her mannerisms. And again, I'm not opposed to that as a personality type. I had a butch PE teacher. She was awesome. But in
I
this
did too.
role,
I did too, by the way.
almost everybody had a butch PE teacher.
She was great. I'm actually friends with her on Facebook. She's great. She's always been great.
It's a type of person. It's for a reason, right? Because they exist. And I just feel like, God, because she's the worst. I don't like her, by the way. I think the way she treats kids
she's the worst person in this whole doc to me. She's terrible.
She's horrible. She's horrible. She's indoctrinating these kids on purpose. She's getting all of her meaning in life out of it. Which, whether she realizes that her beliefs are damaging or not, it doesn't even matter, because you should know that it's not your job to manipulate children into these heightened emotional states, whatever. I just think, well, would she'd be a happier person for sure, but wouldn't she maybe even be a better person if she wasn't Christian, which I think is hilarious, right? Because that's not how Christians think.
I bet you were on your best behavior there.
Yeah.
I
think still in jeans. Anyway,
jeans and a wife beater. Gym class. We're gonna play dodgeball, kids. I just with Becky Fisher. That woman was horrid, just horrid.
Yeah.
And
no, I mean,
the thing is, and this is a bias I have, and this is gonna. I'm gonna openly say this is an opinion. Is if you are that kind of person and you're just ministering kids and you're very passionate about ministering kids and you have no kids of your own, unfortunately that gives me certain vibes. Usually that's associated with men.
I would say
I could be completely wrong. It just gives me a vibe of certain things that are, as the kids would say, it gives me the ick.
I feel differently about it outside of church settings than I do inside of church settings.
I would agree.
For two reasons. One, because like we've been doing this live stream long enough to know
people be doing weird shit.
But also because there's this thing that happens. I was thinking about this when I was watching this. There's this thing that happens with Christians where they conflate being a part of a certain church with being a good person. Mm-hmm. And like, I remember not here where I live now, but where I lived before, we were settling in and we would, call up our real estate agent and be like, hey, we need someone to watch the dog when we go out of town, or we need a babysitter, like whatever. Right. And there'd be this, we stopped doing that really fast because she'd be like, oh, well, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. He's a good Christian. And I'm like, that's
yep, I didn't ask for that.
Is he honest with money? Can he mow the lawn? Like whatever. Right. Like, but this is how a lot of Christians think, especially in groups as fanatical as the one that we're looking at in this documentary. And we know this study that I'm thinking of was actually about people in the nonprofit sector, but I think it applies. When people believe that they are a good person, they do not reflect on their behavior. What happens is, like, I work in the nonprofit sector, so I am a good person. So the things I do are good.
That's very Christian coded, but yeah, I could totally see that. Yeah.
Well, that's a study they did in the nonprofit sector, which actually, ironically, not very Christian populated.
I have a partner who works in that, and let me tell you, lots of Christians in that particular part.
Well, I mean, like overall, though, like you have, Christianity does not. People think that they're out there doing charity work and shit, but they're not, but the point being that I think that translates directly because we see it, we hear it. It's part of the culture. Christians believe that other Christians are good and people who are not Christian are not good. And they don't say like, well, what's this person's motivation? Why are they so interested in making my kid cry? Emotionally manipulating my child.
Yeah.
We don't think
Why are you mentally fucking?
I mean, we think it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's a part to that, and if you remember, she said she was talking about other faiths and how Muslim people are indoctrinating their kids to be killers and all this stuff, and it was all that fear mongering shit they did in W's time, and they're doing it now again. That's not
Right.
that is a cycle that the GOP and Republicans have done fucking decades upon decades upon decades. It's always fear mongering. But then she goes, well, also, hello, we have the truth. She said that particular phrase, and I'm like,
hello.
Like just, we have the truth. You have the truth as you see it. You don't have the truth. Nobody has the truth. Nobody. So, like,
I don't know a lot of people who've said this to me openly. I know one of my best friends has said this to me openly. I've said this openly. My child is not allowed in church.
Yeah.
Just not allowed. Because the manipulation, especially on the children, and this is a whole documentary about it, right? They're like, we're focused on the children. We're focused on the children. We're focused on the children. They say it over and over and over again. Not allowed. Because I don't want my child to be manipulated. And if my kid grows up and joins a church and has a belief system, as long as they're not, actively harming people, I don't really give a shit. But as a child, it's like, no, we're going to wait. We're going to wait until you have better decision making, until you have better discretion. We're going to wait. Because I went to church as a kid, and I remember being terrified. My grandmother was Catholic, terrified, because if you're Catholic and you're not baptized, you go to hell. Period.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrified.
Yeah, because
they teach you my decision to get baptized.
They teach you from a small age that if you don't do these certain things, you're going to burn for fucking eternity. How is that not supposed to fuck with those kids' heads? How is that like? How is it not? Like,
it creates adults who are a little bit crazy too. Like, there's this huge thing when my kid was born, that my mother-in-law was, you have to get back, you have to get her baptized, you have to. It's like, I don't believe in it. I think it's disgusting, actually. But she's stuck in this loop of like, no, it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
And it becomes things that tear families apart. Because when she was a little girl, she's told the same fucking thing.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, Becky Fisher is a piece of shit. I think we can agree on that point at least.
No, I do. I do. I think it's like, I just think, obviously, I believe in every adult's ability and right to choose their spiritual path. And oftentimes that means community. And so I believe in those adults' right to bring their kids with them, have their kids be part of that community. What I don't think is okay is this very targeted indoctrination. I don't think it's okay to tell kids they're going to go to hell. I don't think it's okay to talk to kids about the apocalypse or Armageddon. I don't even if you genuinely fucking believe it's going to happen, which if you do, again, come over to my house, we'll talk. You're crazy, but whatever. Even if you genuinely believe it's going to happen, your 8-year-old kid is not emotionally mature enough to handle that. And they're definitely not mature enough to come to their own conclusion about whether or not you're telling them objective truth or your truth. Because kids don't know the difference between objective truth and their parents' truth and the truth of the adults in their lives.
So, side note, I got a text on my phone. I got to check it, make sure nothing's wrong. Family life. And it's a text from Nextbook saying, hey, we picked this for you. The new Louis C.K. special. Oh, absolutely fucking not. Fuck you. Fuck that guy. Fuck
my God.
Fuck him. No.
Well,
that was poor form, Netflix. That was poor form.
Come on, Netflix.
Jesus mighty. Because
makes a difference.
because I watched Taylor Tomlinson's special like a few weeks ago. That made you want me to see Louis C.K., which is about as far.
I got it pushed into my recommendations because I watched stand up. Because I watched Pete Holmes, who's like,
he's fucking great.
He's great, and he's also, I believe, I don't know, I could be wrong. Speaking of, see, this I can make it fit our live stream tonight. He was raised Christian. And some of the things he said makes me think he still is Christian. But when you listen to the way he talks about religion and spirituality, he genuinely walks the walk in whatever you believe is fine. Anyway, and as far as I know, he has never sexually harassed any women out of a career in stand-up comedy. That's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry for that side tangent. I was just like, oh man, why'd you give me that? That's just gonna put me in a foul mood.
No, it's good. We needed some comic relief, which we're not.
Not literally, not from that guy. I don't want any comic relief from that guy, but yeah. So where were we? I
got a couple more things to say about this bitch.
Please go. Please go.
This telling the children that the world is sick over and over again. The world is sick. The world is sick. The world is sick, which is terrifying. And then telling them that it's their job to fix it.
I believe you're the generation that can fix it.
At one point, she actually said it's your job. It's like, holy shit, man, these are little kids. Their job is to learn how to read right now. Like
ride bikes, hang out with friends, like that sort of thing.
And then the second thing, I just glanced at my notes. She uses the word fat as a pejorative. Fat, lazy, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what the topic was. She's fat.
Mm-hmm.
That was so weird to me. Again, lady, you'd be so much happier somewhere fucking else. It's like, because it's like when I use the word fat, I just mean it like fat, like I'm fat. I'm not as fat as some people, but I'm not thin. That's the reality. I don't think, I'm in the same frame of mind as a lot of fat activists. It's not a bad word, but she's using it as a bad word despite being fat herself.
She's using it to shame.
Yeah, and it's like, lady, hello to her, like, it's so crazy to me. But this goes back to like what I'm talking about with the way they speak to the children is like the way that these churches talk is made to make you hate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And there is nothing and believe me, like if you've been watching this live stream and that this is how you know me, or you've only known me like in the last 15, 20 years, I have read the whole Bible. I've read different versions of the Bible. I was Christian myself. I was very devout. It took me a really long time to let go of being Christian, even when I started disagreeing with all of the shit, right? So when I say this, I'm saying it like, not like, oh, I'm just your run-of-the-mill agnostic, atheist, fucking whatever, saying Christianity is bad. I'm saying like, Jesus never fucking taught a single thing that said you have to hate yourself. He never taught a single thing that told you to make children hate themselves. In fact, the opposite. He said you don't fuck with kids, period. And so it makes me pretty hot and tempting. It makes me especially angry because I think that there's this trick that the adults in these churches play where they tell themselves that they are the Christianity that is in the Bible, that's in the New Testament, that Jesus is out there, he's kind, that Jesus himself is love, and Jesus himself is charity, and you're supposed to be like Jesus. They tell themselves that. And then they go and tell kids they're fake, they're frauds, they're sinners, they're unclean. They tell other people, you're fat, I'm fat, and fat's bad. Like, it's just crazy to me.
Yeah, but that's a system though. The system is built to shame and make you afraid. There's the two factors that like at that level. Like, this is not saying like every Christian facet does this. Quite a few do not. But like this particular style, this evangelical style, is designed to make you afraid and make you angry at the same time. So, these kids they would feel like I have to do this is my calling. I'm like, you're fucking 8. Your calling should not be this. Your calling should be fruity fucking pebbles and a bike ride. That
when
should
you're
be your
8 years
calling.
old, you don't have a calling.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is.
I don't think you should think you have a calling at 18. I think you should wait.
Agreed.
Like,
I mean, look at all of us at 18 being like, okay, what do I want to do in my life?
I'm not doing that. Are you doing what you were?
No, not even close. Like I went to college thinking I like marine biology. Everybody at my age at that point in time liked marine biology.
Yeah.
Cool, really cool shit. I took one semester and I'm like, I am way out of my depth. I'm switching majors. And I switched to English with communications emphasis. I'm like, I'm good at writing. And then, yeah, I do nothing with that as a profession.
Zach. Oh, we both did it at the same time.
Because that was gold. That was gold.
I went to college thinking I was going to be a lawyer. Spoiler alert. I don't know if you've seen me recently. I get kicked out of any fucking courtroom in America.
You'd be like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, contempt. Get out.
Just the way I look. Just how I look. I'm not, anyway.
I don't think that's it. I don't think that's necessarily as much the case anymore, but regardless.
For trial lawyers,
for certain things.
Which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a trial lawyer.
But there is sorry, real quick. There is this guy, and I can't remember the fuck his name is, but he's this attorney and he does a lot of social media. But he's a divorce attorney and he has like but when he rolls his sleeves up, he is tatted up all the way.
But what he doesn't have is he doesn't have knuckle tattoos.
Yeah. I am not that brave. That would make me ouchy. So no thanks. Good on you.
They don't actually hurt that bad.
All right. So anyway, back to the topic at hand.
But I thought I was going to be a lawyer, and I'm not. And then I joined the Marines, which anybody who knows any of the other shit that I'm passionate about knows that didn't exactly work out for me. I definitely didn't make a career out of it. Now, what am I doing? Oh, I'm chronically unemployed, but it's not because of my knuckle tattoos. I was unemployable well before that. I'm unemployable because of the Marine Corps, actually.
So I had this English with communications emphasis associate degree. I don't even have a BS. After 2 years, I couldn't afford it anymore. And I was like, I can't afford that anymore. You and I were having a discussion before the show how much my school cost in 1991 and 92. And now it is like, it is like 4 times as much. It's insane. But I worked in IT for 28 years. Like, I don't have any degree in computer stuff. I just fell into it and I've been working in that realm for damn near 30 years. So it's funny the amount, like my wife has a degree in English literature and she works in the nonprofit sector and not in that realm for sure. So like the thing is where we're getting at with this is your quote unquote calling. There's certain people who do have a calling. I don't dispute that, but those are very few and far between. There's not a lot of people that from a young age go, I'm going to be this. And you're like, you know what? That makes sense. That person should do that because that's definitely them. But how many people have you ever met in your life that are like that?
I'll tell you, I've always wanted to be a writer.
I met one person who was like that in my entire life. One.
I've always wanted to be a writer and I am a professional writer, but it doesn't make the kind of money that you want your calling to make, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't suggest just focusing on your calling, but the point being, of course, is like 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 14-year-olds, the pressure, take church out of it. The pressure to figure out what you want to do for the whole rest of your life when you're too young to even understand what adulthood looks like. Yeah, you don't know. Nobody knows. I still don't fucking know what adulthood's supposed to look like. I have not experienced it. It's so abusive.
And it's also super dependent on your scenario and situation and what you have going on in life,
Yeah.
and a million factors. Like adulthood to me is different than what my thought adulthood was, 10, 20, 30 years ago. It's different in every phase. But to be 8 and be saying you're going to do this and you're going to do this well and you're going to be awesome at it. And the thing is, part of it is pumping that kid up, this particular kid, Levi, up to be, you're going to be a pastor. And spoiler alert, that kid is still in the church, but he's not a pastor. He has a fuck ton of kids. He has like 4 or 5 kids. He can't be more than 30. He has 4 or 5 kids already. But he's still in the church.
Oh, it's easier on him to have 4 or 5 kids than it was on his wife.
For sure. But he's not a pastor, so I have no idea what he's doing. But like he was told from a very young age that kid's mom was just as bad as Becky Fisher. Maybe 100%. Worse. Maybe worse. Because here's the thing. Go ahead. Sorry. No, I was going to harp on the homeschooling stuff.
Yes.
Because when the homeschooling stuff, which is interesting, I had a discussion with a friend of mine who is a therapist. And she said that the majority of people who homeschool their kids now are the granola crunchy woo-woo types.
However, the new pipeline into the far right is the granola crunchy woo-woo types.
Yep, it is.
So it always, you cannot isolate and expect acceptance and community and,
But so the difference between the homeschooling that person is doing, this lady, is she's structuring it because I'm going to structure it so I want you to be a Christian. So she has like a structure. For lack of a better term, is it a structure I agree with? Fucking no. I think that's ludicrous to do that to a kid. But what my therapist friend was saying is a lot of these woo-woo people are just doing either unschooling, which is basically like, we don't teach them anything. And then they're like 8 and they don't know how to write. And she's like, and what's funny is I said, so all these parents are coming because she basically does therapy for troubled teens, not troubled teens, like, not like we're going to send you away to a camp, but like this person's really struggling to integrate and adapt. Yeah. And almost all of them are these unschooling folks.
I'm going to tell you this though. A lot of those are ultra right-wing Christian homeschoolers also are not teaching their kids anything, because who does the homeschooling? Mom. Who was told not to go to college? Also mom. So, girls are told, again, from the same age as we're seeing in this thing, they don't need to worry about school. They don't need to worry about anything. If they're expected to go to college at all, they're expected to go to college to find a husband.
Yeah.
And it's not looked down on to drop out once you accomplish that.
Yeah, and there's that one girl who would really love to dance, and she would do routines and do all this stuff. And that girl will be like, well, yeah, but I need to find a husband and have kids. And I'm like, you are 9 years old. And what the fuck? Why are you doing this?
You also have that insane, I'm not calling her insane, but I'm calling this idea insane. This insane thing about like, I have to make sure that I'm dancing for the love of Jesus and like, not because I enjoy it.
No, it was this phrase. It was, I'm dancing for the love of Jesus and not for flesh. Flesh. She used the term flesh as a 9.
9. Yeah.
Like, what are you doing to these kids? Like, that should not be a thought in that kid's head ever. Well, not ever, but like not at 9. Maybe when they're in their preteens or teens. 9? Like I'm
going to say this. No, even when they're teenagers, it's not. If it's about dancing, it's not about sex. I just like stop. We have to absolutely stop sexualizing things that people just do. People have danced since we've figured out that you can make a beat. Like people have always danced. This idea that it's inherently sexual, like, oh my God, fuck off. Just fuck off. I hate it.
There's some dance that's decidedly not sexual. People dance.
Yeah, well, but I mean, it's like, you could say like to your teenager, like, hey, I don't want you rubbing up on people when you're dancing. Like, the lines of consent get really blurry. You don't always know like what, what effect it's going to have on you. I just don't want you to be in that situation. Whatever. Fine. They're going to do it anyway, but you can say it. Right. But this idea of like, if you're just you're doing a dance routine, you're not doing a dance routine for flesh. You're doing a dance routine because you're somebody who loves fucking dancing.
Yeah.
It's not fucking Footloose, man. I mean, probably for that girl, it's going to be, probably is now. Like, because she probably did marry somebody who's just as devout as she is and just as hardcore as she is. And it's probably become something that's like she's got to be ashamed of now. Just judging by people I know who've lived that life.
All right, I'm going to look it up.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to hate it. I mean, maybe she's, I don't know.
All right. All right, so that's the AI shit. Fuck off. Levi.O'Brien, his handle on Facebook and Instagram is Jesus Lover Levi O'Brien. So definitely in the trying to remember Jesus Kids Camp Now. That's a TikTok. I can't do that while we're now. So I know the one girl, Rachel, and my wife very heavily identified with Rachel because that girl was very neurodivergent and my wife was neurodivergent, and she went through the same kind of shit. And that poor girl, I felt bad for all the kids. I felt really bad for her because her dad based all of his love on, are you worshiping Jesus enough? It wasn't like, I love you because you're my daughter. I love you because you're just this awesome person. It was, you're not loving Jesus enough. And when she did something that he liked, he'd be like, all right, this is great. And there was just and that poor girl, like, she was trying. She was really trying. She
my God.
So bad.
She's trying. This is the thing. What I found so difficult to watch is that she wasn't just trying, man. She was like, she was working harder at trying to proselytize and be a good Christian than I think I've seen most people work at literally anything. As a little girl, she was like basically performing, hard labor, but emotionally, it's I hated it. I hated watching her.
Yeah, she basically, I believe, like my wife said that she said that she believes in a higher power, but she views it more like a friendship as opposed to like this hierarchical thing.
That's what your wife believes, or that's what she
remembers. That she said that person, that Rachel was just like, she made a video where she was like, listen, I still believe in God, but I think it's more of a friendship rather than this thing on high judging me. It's more like, I work with this person to try to be a better person. And I'm like, that's a pretty healthy way considering your start. That's incredibly
healthy. If the majority of people in any religion viewed that religion simply as something to work with to become a better human being, we'd live in a very different world.
Yeah, I found her Instagram, Rachel Balducci. So, it was funny is author and speaker, and it says send inquiries to testosterone at gmail. Testosterone. Interesting. But that was one, I believe the girl who danced a lot, she's still in the church, but not quite as devout. And then there was this point, do you remember the one kid who got on stage and sat down and was like, it's really hard for me to believe because things make me doubt. And that kid's not a believer at all anymore.
Yeah, thank God for him.
That poor kid, he was just heartbroken that he couldn't believe like everybody else. And he thought he was broken. He thought he was broken because of it. And that's the kind of shit that Becky Fisher was like, yes, get all that out so you could be followers of Jesus. And she just was like, just on top of that fucker. And that poor kid.
Yeah.
He was
one of the things.
Rachel was the one that I felt the worst for. He was the one I felt second worst for.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I see a lot, as I've talked about here before, I maintain a level of involvement in the ex-Mormon community because I think it's important. People leave support groups when they don't need support anymore. And so you never have people who are like, no, I've been out for over 20 years and it's awesome. Like, it's going to be okay. I can prove it. I'm okay. Yeah. Like, so I stick around. And one of the hardest things for me, and I understand this is natural part of progression of anything like this, but I think it goes on for a long time sometimes, is like, how do you convince your family that it's not true? Or I'm struggling with understanding the debunking of XYZ. Can you explain to me why it's not true? And it's like, do you believe in it? If the answer is no, that's it. That's it. If you don't believe in it, you don't believe in it. You don't have to prove it to anybody. You don't have to do research. You don't do shit. You can just be like, I don't believe in it. And that's reason enough. The church is who tells you that you have to prove it if you're going to walk away. Do they ever prove to you that they're right? No, they fucking don't, because they literally cannot. Because especially in Christian denominations, it's antithetical to the whole point, right? You have to have faith. You have to do it without being proven one way or the other. It's just like, just don't, I don't know. I'm on a little bit of a soapbox because it's like, I just wish that, like, as a nation, as a society, then we just like, if you don't believe in it, you don't have to. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's it.
The problem
is price of entry.
The problem is evangelical Christians, and quite a few Christians outside of evangelicalism too. Let's be very clear. Like, they believe that they are required by the Bible to spread the word. They're required.
Well, also, there's a lot of storytelling in evangelical Mormon, I'm sure in like JW and other circles. There's a lot of storytelling around having doubts and conquering those doubts. Mm-hmm. That your job is to get over it. And that it's not like your job is to get over it because you have to believe, but like, if you have doubts, like, what an opportunity for you to do this work and become faithful. And you get, so they're not telling you, but they're telling you stories about someone else, right? Because you are actually not allowed to doubt, and you are not allowed to not believe. But here's the story about somebody who did doubt or somebody who didn't believe, and now they're like the most faithful person you've ever met because they got over it, because they did the work, because they did. And the reality is, either you believe in it or you don't. And if you do believe in it and doubts creep in, you should probably fucking think about that. But the church tells you the opposite. Any church you go to is going to tell you the opposite.
Yeah. This is a really good point. Thank you, Dak.
Mm-hmm. That's much more concise than what I said, but kind of the point I was trying to make. So thank you.
Yeah, the whole point of being like, well, can you give me any proof? The Bible, that's not proof. Like, that Pat Nuzzle did this whole skit where he's like, these people being like, hey, here's this book I read once and I want you to make it. So I like this issue of the Green Lantern. Make that fucking, like, make that law. Like, that's the kind of nonsense that is. So, like, you can believe it. And like you said, I'll support you believing whatever, as long as you're not trying to make everybody else do it. If you're keeping,
or if that belief causes you to harm people, which I think
that's the other part.
My stance is that, at least in this example, in this documentary, the beliefs that these people hold harm children, period. End of fucking story.
Yeah, the problem is the stranglehold that Christianity and their deep pockets have on our particular society in this country will not allow you to say that. They'll be like, well, you're indoctrinating people into my favorite is they're indoctrinating people to be trans. And I'm like, you have no idea how difficult it is to be just a trans person, to exist. They're not trying to promote, they're not trying to convert anybody. They're trying to say, hey, this is me, leave me be. I'm just doing this. And they're like, no, we're going to fuck you up. And they're like, I don't want any of that. I just want to be me and do what I want to do. Like you want freedom? You want freedom to do? Yes. Okay, but you can't have that freedom.
It's the sore loser bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
that we're experiencing even right now, right? Like, who is more angry than maggots right now? They're so angry. They won.
They have everything. They have everything.
Yes.
Everything. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the accordion hands.
but they're so angry. They're so angry. And you see it in this. They, at this point in time, they also had control of all branches of the government. So fucking angry. It's like, you know what? I have very deeply held, intense spiritual beliefs, and almost nobody I know knows what they are. You know why? Because I don't give a shit. Because they're mine.
Because they're personal to you.
And if I encounter something that makes me think, oh, I might be wrong, that gets to be exciting for me. I don't have to be angry about it. I could just be like, oh, okay, like, let's see. And
there's no curiosity.
This is one of the things I made a note of, because it fucking pissed me off so bad. Because Christians, most religions, not just Christians, most religions, they never ever want to admit this. She says creationism is the only possible answer to all the questions. No, it's fucking not. No, it is not. There is no answer to all the questions. None. Science is not even the answer to all the questions, because if you keep asking questions past a certain point, we will always get to a point, no matter what you believe, where you're like, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah.
What created the stuff that caused the Big Bang? We don't fucking know. We don't know. You can believe that with all your heart, and fine with it. I believe in it too. But there comes a point at which we stop answering the fucking questions. I do love crows, but I have a pair of ravens that get in my trash all the fucking time right now. So my faith is waning.
Your faith is really in ravens and corvids?
No. But
Corvid don't.
We do have a pair of nesting ravens at the abandoned church across the road, because they understood the assignment and they are got
this abandoned church. Renee,
yeah, they nested.
That sounds like a little expedition you need to make and record.
I live across the street. I've been in it because I've talked to the caretakers, whatever. But they made a nest in the cross.
In the cross?
In the cross. They're the gothest fucking crows ever. They're living in an abandoned Catholic church in the cross. But then they come, and my trash company won't replace my broken trash can, so they get in my trash and I have to clean it up, and I don't like that part at all.
All right. So how much do you think ravens are ostracized by certain religious groups because of Edgar Allan Poe?
I think that it started before that, and that's why he used ravens. But also, have you ever been up close to a raven? They're kind of terrifying.
Yeah, they're big.
They're
way bigger than you think.
And they're so much bigger than you think, because I knew that they were big. And now sometimes they're in my front yard, and I just, every fucking time, I'm like, holy shit, that's a huge bird. One was trying to get fluff out of my patio furniture for the nest. And because it was like bent down and like trying to get in and using its feet and its beak, it didn't look like a bird, because it was in the shade, whatever. And when I pulled up and I parked my car, I looked, I was like, what the fuck is that? I was terrified. And I was like, oh, it's a bird. It's just a huge bird that is going to continue to terrorize me by digging out my trash. And I can't do anything because it's huge.
Yeah.
It chased off all the other birds.
Yeah. My wife's life goal is to be able to like befriend a raven or crows. She likes corvids.
I tried to befriend crows, and that's how I got a scrub jay, because they're also corvid.
Yes.
But he's been chased away by the ravens.
But we do. What's really cool is where I live. I'm right near a river, so there's a bunch of prey birds. So I got all kinds of hawks, bald eagles. Yeah, I'd said ballsy corvids.
Shaking faith and trash everywhere.
Yeah. So
my upcoming album.
Go ahead. All right. So what's fun is when you see these hawks come in and try to be like, well, I'm going to patrol this area. And the crows are like, I'm having none of that shit.
Fuck, you're not.
And like 4 of them will be like dive bombing this. It's really fucking great to watch, because the hawks are like predators, and these crows are like, "Fuck you, we're going."
Yeah, and they do like they dogfight. It's like Top Gun.
It's awesome.
It's amazing.
It's amazing to watch. Like I've never seen ravens do it, but crows do that shit all the time. They do not give a fuck.
I don't think ravens have to do it because they're so big. They're just like, get out of here. And the other birds are like, you know what?
Please tell me that's real.
I was on my way out anyway.
Please tell me you actually had a crow.
Oh my God.
That is awesome. Sorry, that is awesome.
So
that
jealous.
was awesome. I'm going to tell Jill that. I'm going to tell Jill that, and she's going to be very mad because we had 2 bird baths and we've never gotten crows to drop anything in there. So
I feel like since my pair of ravens already live in an abandoned Catholic church, that like there's like a real good chance they'd bring me a skull if I just played my cards right.
Do it, please. And you better take photos because I want to see that shit.
I didn't know that it was a possibility, but now that Zach has told me, this is my goal in life.
Do it.
We're so all far
for
off.
that. I'm all for that. Zach, send that to me because I'm totally down for that shit.
Oh God, anyway. Do you remember when they got in trouble for telling ghost stories? Speaking of goth, those poor kids just wanted to tell ghost stories around the fire and they got in trouble.
And you know who the guy that gave them shit was? Rachel's dad.
Of course.
Mr. Hey, I
this
would like
doesn't
you to be
serve God.
You should always be talking about God. You should always do stuff that brings him praise and happiness. And I'm like, these kids are just having fun in a fucking cabin with no resources. Like they're just
my literal note was, isn't camp supposed to be fun? Like
not there, motherfuckers. No fun. All God all the time.
I think that's what's crazy to me. And I did encounter kids like this, like in middle school and high school that, you know, like they were done for whatever reason. Their parents were like, okay, we're done homeschooling. Go and, you know, go be free into the real world or whatever. And it's like, they didn't know how to have fun. They just didn't. They didn't know how to socialize because they were completely isolated.
Yep.
They didn't have anything in common with anybody because they weren't watching TV. They weren't allowed to listen to music that wasn't Christian music. I guarantee you that's the reality for most of the kids that we saw in this thing, except for the one whose parents were divorced because he said
Well, that was great. And like the kids panicked when he said, "Oh, I just watched it." My dad, they were like, "Oh," they were so panicked that oh no, he's a blasphemer. What am I going to do?
He comes from a broken home.
And he laughed. He was like, "Ha ha." Good for you, kid.
That's how I watched the X-Files when I was a kid. My mom didn't like it. I watched at my dad's house because he wasn't weird about it. Anyway, they don't know. The point is they don't know how to make friends. They don't have anything in common with kids their age. And they literally do not know how to have fun because having fun, you know, inherently means doing shit for the sake of doing it. And these kids are not allowed to do anything for the sake of doing it. They have to do it to glorify God. They have to do it to spread the love of Jesus. They have to do it for whatever fucking reason. Sometimes you just do something because you want to, and it is fun. You don't ride a bike for Jesus. You ride a bike because it's fun to ride a bike.
Yeah, it is interesting. Just the like I said, they were not allowed to be kids at any point.
Yeah,
just not allowed to be kids. And the idea that these parents would spend gobs of money to send these kids to these dumb camps. And by the way, Becky Fisher is still doing those camps,
of course,
to this day. Also, very much an Ozempic person now. I've got a Paula Dean look about her.
Also, here's something, and this is a very nitpicky nitpick, given everything else that's going wrong in this documentary. Why the fuck do you need so many of those Jell-O molds, Becky? You can reuse them. They don't go bad. Why are you fucking littering and throwing shit into the fucking dump? And granted, we know why. The same reason they don't give a shit about climate change, right? Because they think that they're all gonna fucking...
It's dominion over the earth.
Yeah. The world's gonna end anyway, so who gives a shit? But like, come on, Becky. Reuse the fucking thing. At least take better care of your budget, for Christ's sake. Literally, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
It made me so mad. I was like, why are there 27 of those fucking things on the shelf?
Also, could we talk about the fact that Becky chose to do this camp in a town named Devil's Lake, South Dakota.
I forgot that.
Devil's Lake. I know why she did it. Hey, look, we're fighting the devil. It's a town name, dipshit.
Where's
they
it?
did that.
Is it
They did that because
Missouri?
it sounded cool back in the fucking 1700s. Like,
Wait, what state has hell? Oh, Michigan. Yeah. So next year it's going to be in Hell, Michigan.
Michigan. I thought maybe you were going to say it was going to be next year. It was going to be the Squirrel Nut Zippers. Fucking. Sorry, that's the sound hell from Squirrel Nut Zippers, and that's where my brain went. Sorry for going on that journey. There.
I wonder. You know what's funny? My town, they do it here because Mormons are evil, right? It's, first of all, Zach, I called the same person fat, gay, and made fun of the same person's Jello habit. Okay, for the record.
I wonder
Not three
if
different people.
was she doing Jello recipes from her mother? Because remember how popular Jello recipes were in like the 70s?
There's fucking tuna fish and mayonnaise in those brains.
Mayonnaise.
Man, it's fucking lemon Jello with fucking hot dogs in it.
Oh man, just everything. Hey, what could we throw in Jello? It looks cool because it's suspended in Jello. I think that was the whole thing. Which is, hey,
yeah.
let's throw weird food in there and just see if it looks cool as it's suspended in Jello.
So many of these.
Never mind how that's gonna taste. Who gives a fuck? It looks cool.
I watch this guy on Instagram. It's Marco's Funhouse. I watch. He does lots of things, but one of the things he does is vintage recipes, and they're all so bad. They're all so upsetting. But when you watch enough of them, you realize like that's 100% what it was. It's how it looks.
Yeah, there's a guy named Dylan Thomas, maybe. Excuse me. I'm about to look it up. But he does old recipes, and that's kind of his whole shtick. Not Dylan Thomas. That's an Irish poet. I can't remember.
Well, I'll say this: if you watch Marco's Funhouse, it's so fucking funny.
B. Dylan Hollis. Name.
Okay, Hollis.
Yeah, and he's this gay guy, very fine with being
so
out.
Is Marco. Is this like a gay thing? A gay man?
I don't know. But he's like the blah 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 from Depression era. And he makes these fucking shit. And either it's like he'll be like, "This is going to be terrible," but I'm going to make it anyway. And then and either it'll be like, or it'll be like, "Okay, I'm really surprised. It's pretty good." Like it. But he's made so many Jello recipes; it's really quite funny. So,
no, my favorite thing is so on the Marco's Funhouse, he always tries them, and someone did ask him in an interview, like when he gags or spits it out, like is he doing that for show? And he's like, no, it's 100% honest reaction every time. If you see me gagging, it's because I'm gagging.
all right,
anyway,
all right, this is Dylan. Oh, look at that!
Oh yeah, I've seen his videos too. Yeah.
He did Baking Yes Here's a cookbook that he made with all these old recipes. He's totally fun to watch. You should totally watch him.
Yeah, I've seen his. I'm gonna say, Marco's Funhouse is funnier.
He might be. Like I said, that's just the guy that I've seen. But
I loved it. This is such a fucking unpalatable cult that we just keep changing the subject entirely.
I think we have to for our own mental health because this fucking thing was so fucked up. I was just seriously. I said after this hour and a half, I was like, I think that's the most angry I've ever been after watching a documentary. Like
we've watched some fucked up shit. We've watched some fucked up shit. And here's the thing. This is worse. And part of the reason it's worse is because it's kids. And also because it's like we're here. We're living in the world that they wanted to create. And you know what? It fucking sucks. Yeah. And it's not like, it's not like 400 people in a intentional community somewhere in the Midwest. It's our country.
Yeah, it's not like Nature Boy where he's in this little commune in the middle of fucking Nicaragua. This is symptomatic of millions of folks. Millions. Not just, hey, I did this thing and there's 400 kids at this. 400 kids is a lot the thing is that's just the tip of the iceberg for all this shit.
Yeah, because there's camps like that all over the country.
Yeah, and the thing is, those folks indoctrinate their kids to vote against anything that isn't super white, super Christian, preferably male, and preferably rich.
Well, and remember, we talked about this before we started, but the thing about Rachel at the end that was very telling to me is well, first, I just hated watching this, but they're walking up to strangers and they're like proselytizing, which is just like, yeah, well, don't do that. First of all, don't tell kids to just approach strangers.
For sure.
Fucking one.
What,
but anyway.
And no adult present. No adult.
No. Nope. So they walk up to this group of 2 or 3 Black men who are just hanging out in the park, trying to enjoy the day. And they're like, if you died, do you know where you're going? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, where? Heaven. Are you sure?
Are you sure was my favorite part. Ugh.
And wait. What? Are you fucking kidding me?
I didn't know that Liam Layton was his brother. I thought they were just internet friends.
I love Liam Layton's videos.
Liam's great, and that dude does so much for body positivity, and just he fucking donates money to like people just like anywhere. Anyway, so I didn't know they were related.
I didn't either. That's amazing. So
Liam's great.
Her and the other kid she's doing with, they walk away, and she says, I think they might have been Muslim. And I was like, that's okay. But then, because that's not bad enough, that's not upsetting enough. Then they go to talk to some white people, and the white people are like, fucking leave us alone. And she's like, well, we don't know. They might already be Christian. We can't judge them.
Yeah.
So I feel like that tells you the whole story.
But Rachel being like, I think they're Muslim. And then the other person like, maybe they're Christian and already are good. And she was like, oh, I hadn't considered, like, her face was just like, oh, I hadn't considered that because they're Black. Like,
yeah.
It reminds me a bit of, do you remember in, I think it's Lethal Weapon 2, where Joe Pesci and Donald Glover, Daniel Glover. Sorry. I wonder, are they related? They probably are.
I've looked it up.
Anyway, Daniel Glover is like, they go to the South African consulate and they're talking about how Daniel Glover wants to go back because he wants to fight apartheid. And Joe Pesci, and he's like, but you're Black. In the South African accent, and Joe Pesci repeats it later. And I'm just like, that is so funny hearing this tiny Italian guy being like, but they're Black. I don't know why that should make me laugh. But sorry, that was again, we're on tangents all over tonight. So
it's it's a very difficult thing to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing.
It makes me sad and angry. And
what I'm about to say is actually an unhinged thing to say, given where I am right now and what I'm doing. I don't actually like to criticize people's beliefs. I like to criticize their actions if I feel they're worthy of critique. Obviously, not just everybody. But it's impossible not to do both in this one because the beliefs, they use terms like the children are usable. Their belief is that they should be doing this to these kids. Their belief is that they should view other Americans as their enemies if they're not Christian. Like, that's their belief.
Yeah. What I find really interesting is the idea that they will take they'll use the equivalent of Muslim children. And they'll pick Muslim children who are in countries that are just getting the fuck bombed out of them. Like,
yeah, they talked a lot about Palestine for a minute there too.
Oh, yeah. And they were like, and I was like, oh boy, you don't want me in that, because I have a lot to say about that. Not really, because I'm not Jewish and I'm not Palestinian, but yeah. But anyway, they'll be like, well, they're teaching, those kids have been bombed all the time. You have not. You have lived a life of immeasurable fucking privilege.
They're also, I don't know how to say it without being very obvious in my views, but I think anybody who knows me is not going to be surprised. There's also, who's training their children to be fucking soldiers versus who would gladly never have their kids touch a weapon again and just go to school and be kids. Because it's not the fucking Palestinians that are going to work because they feel like it. It's not them. And that's the thing that makes me crazy about it, because it's very, the Christian right is very, very pro-Israel. And then you want to talk about making kids fight. You can't stay male, female, anything. You can't stay a citizen if you don't go to war. As a veteran myself, as somebody who joined the military on purpose because I wanted to, I disagree with that on every fucking possible level. Mm-hmm. Every level. It's not good for the people that you serve alongside with. It's not good for a community building, for a nation of people who care about each other. It's not good for any fucking thing. And you want to talk about they're training their kids. You know who the majority of people in the military in the US are? What religion they're in? It ain't fucking Muslim.
Yep.
These people love war. And then they use, people defending themselves as evidence that religion that those people are in is evil. And it's just like, come on, man. You heard of the fucking Crusades? Have you heard of all the fucking anti-gay violence? Have you heard about trans people getting murdered in the fucking street? Who do you think's doing that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I had a point and then my brain just went like,
sorry, it just really fucking irritates me. It's something I heard from people in my own family when I was a kid. Muslims, they're a religion of blood. They're violent. They're this, they're that. It's like, I read the Bible, man.
Oh, but they discount the Old Testament unless it suits them for certain parts.
Yeah, but a lot of Christian history post the Old Testament is also pretty fucking bloody.
Yeah, for sure. But they will well, it's a new covenant because Jesus died. That's a new covenant. So you're saying all that shit that happened before, it doesn't matter? That's what they're saying.
I don't want to get into a theological debate because it's whatever, right? It doesn't matter because you and I would probably land on the same page, but yeah. But I mean, it's like we had the Crusades. We have all kinds of violence in this country perpetrated by Christians for their Christian beliefs. It's not fucking atheists bombing Planned Parenthood.
No, it is not.
It's not. And
it's not atheists bombing any fucking thing, by the way. Anything.
Well, on an individual basis, perhaps, but not on an institutional basis.
Not an institution. Well, we don't really have an institution either, but just the idea of like someone like the biggest domestic terrorist ever was a Christian, and he was Timothy McVeigh. That's the biggest domestic terrorist we've ever had as an attack and as far as body count, and he was. And
the biggest group of the biggest hate group in the U.S. for a very long time, and I think it's still true, is the Christian nationalist movement. The Aryan nations, they have their own church, they have their own whatever, and it's violent as fuck. It's violent as fuck. KKK was a Christian organization, anti-Catholic, anti-everything else,
anti-everything too. That's the thing is they don't understand that the Klan wasn't just against black people; they were against anybody who wasn't most everybody. Even if you look at the idea when for instance, Irish folks came to America and they were Catholic, and those people were spit on because they were not the right American. They were white, but they were not the right kind of white. The thing is we are a country from our inception which has been all about bigotry and racism and a variety of aspects. And these people in this particular documentary want to continue that. That's what they want to do. They want to raise their kids to be bigots and hate anybody that doesn't look, worship, love, or sound like them.
I mean, now I don't remember if they used it explicitly in this documentary, but you see it other places all the time. Warrior. They use the word warrior.
Warrior all the time.
And if your message is about Yeah. If your message is about love, if your message is about saving people with love, why would you use that term? I don't think there's anything, by the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with being a warrior. I think it's really fucking weird if you call yourself a warrior and you're saying that it's about your religion, and then you call somebody else war obsessed. Well, Zach, that's a whole different episode, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe we need to.
We could really get into that. We could get deep into the role of the Boy Scouts of America and the difference with the Girl Scouts and everything else. It's.
Yeah, but when you talk about all that stuff, all I hear is Pete Hegseth, whatever you want to call him. But I've never served in the military. I couldn't because my hearing was too bad. But you have, and so the idea of like I can't imagine the anger you have towards this fucking stupid regime and that because they are following the tenets of what this camp was. Hey, let's just make it all Christian and you're not allowed to do anything other but Christian shit. And
also redefine what that means.
And Hegseth, who has a fucking Nazi tattoo on his fucking chest, is running our fucking defense, which he decided to call the Department of War because he's a fucking pansy.
Which actually isn't official because only Congress can change the name of the department.
But they did what every other Trump thing does. They just changed it on the thing. And it's like, remember when it was like, hey, we're not going to call it the Gulf of Mexico, we're called the Gulf of America. That lasted a week. Nobody knows it to go fucking America.
I'm going to say, like, the thing about the Department of War that really bugs me is because it actually, here's a soapbox for you. It actually feeds the most extreme versions of leftists who don't think there should be a military at all. Because, let me tell you, because I don't think we should go to war with other countries. I don't think that we should be out there doing anything in other countries. But I do think that it would be absolutely insane to not have a Department of Defense. Every country in the world does. Countries who historically have always been neutral and never joined a war have a fucking military. And the reason why is because you do have to be able to defend yourself. And having a military means that you can. You can't count on everybody else to be nice just because you decided to be nice, especially if you're America, because we have not been nice for a very, very long time.
We have been terrible to many countries. Many.
So it's like, well, we can't get rid of the military. We could do a lot. We could get rid of a lot of military spending. We could change the way that we operate in the world. There's so many things we could do, but we can't just not have one. Not unless everybody gets real cool real fast. We can't not have one.
That's not happening.
Yeah. So, and I mean everybody in the whole world, that's a lot of fucking people.
Nope.
So to call it the Department of War, it's like you make it very fucking clear. This is about imperialism. This is about getting involved in shit we have no business getting involved in. It is about continuing the war machine. It is about the military industrial complex. It is not about making life better for the average American. It's not about anything but war.
Yeah. I think I saw that there was this person, again, I'm blanking on the video, but this person was like, hey, why are you asking for 1.6 trillion for the budget for the military next year? 1.6 trillion, not billions, trillions.
I'll tell you what it's not for. It's not to get people in the military off food stamps.
No, it isn't. One of the things is they want to build the biggest battleship ever, which we stopped building battleships for real back in World War II because they were slow and ineffective. They could bring a lot of power to bear, a lot of firepower.
I don't give it very long before they're trying to bring tanks back either.
Because, well, we saw that fucking the bloated sack of syphilis in office wanted to have a fucking parade with all the tanks down through like Putin. So again, we're going afield from this thing, but this all ties together because that's what Jesus Camp is actually about. It's about making foot soldiers for this kind of shit. It's this kind of shit that they want. They want all these kids to grow up into adults and be that kind of person.
And they are now. They are adults now. That is the thing that's important, I think, to think about, is that the kids that we watched in this documentary who are being indoctrinated, who are being turned into warriors, who were being told that their number one job in everything they do is to gain enough power to stop liberal policies. They are adults now. They are doing what they were raised to do. Now, granted, not every single individual one of those children, but you know what? Percentage-wise, statistically, most people do not just wake up one day and not believe the things that they were raised to believe. That's not actually very fucking common. I think that's probably true, Zach.
That might be true. Probably.
We keep clicking them at the same fucking time, man. But yeah, I don't know. I could say this was so hard to watch and it was hard to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay. Teaching. Yeah, this is my last note. Teaching children that it is good to be a martyr. That dying is aspirational. Because it's not enough to teach them to hate themselves. It's not enough to teach them that they'll never be good enough. It is not enough to whip them into emotional frenzies at ages where they are not capable of discernment and they are not capable of even handling those emotions. That is not enough. You have to make them want to die.
Yeah. So,
which, you know, that. Yeah. Go ahead.
Like I said, the problem is this is so disturbing to watch because it was so apropos for what we're going through now. I think that was what made it that much more disturbing. Is the idea is like, we're doing all this now again, 20 years later. We're not better.
We're fulfilling it. We let it happen. And I think that's something that I think a lot of people who believe themselves to be opposed to what is happening now have not accepted. This is not something that happened in the last 10 years. It's not something that happened in the last 15 years. It has been happening. And there's been so much for people with pattern recognition, right? With people who paid close attention and were concerned about these things. We spent most of our lives being told that's never going to happen. And then it did. And it's happening and it's getting worse. And there's still people saying that's never going to happen.
Oh, it's gonna everything's on the table now. Everything.
Yeah. I mean, I literally cannot count the number of times somebody told me they will never overturn Roe v. Wade.
Well, all those fucking lying pieces of shit told us in their confirmation hearing that it was settled law. That's what they said.
But anybody with pattern recognition knew that was bullshit.
And as soon as they had an opportunity to rescind it, yep.
100% easily. And this is it, because we were told they were never going to do that. We were told they were never going to fucking stack the Supreme Court. They were never going to go. I mean, God, we're having a literal genocide. We meet the standards for a genocide on trans people in our country right fucking now. Right now. That's not going to happen. That's happening. It's been happening.
Yep.
People will still tell you, oh, they're not going to take away adults' rights.
Doing it.
They've already done it. They've already fucking taken adults' rights to gender affirming treatment away in plenty of states in the US.
They're going also in prisons and in the military. In prisons and in the military. Yeah. Which, like I said, I'm tying it back to this is all something that's part of this Jesus camp. This is the forerunner. This is them trying to get people in place so that they can fuck the entire thing and make it a Christian nation, because that's what they think it is, and it isn't. It was never founded on those principles. They don't care about that. They think somebody said creator in the fucking Bill of Rights, and that means that everything is No, listen. The whole thing. There might have been a bunch of Christians amongst the founders. They were very, very clear about not establishing a national religion, and they did that because they came from England, where there was a national religion, which was extraordinarily oppressive. So while the founders were flawed as fuck because almost all of them owned slaves, this was not something they were wrong about. They were like, we are not establishing a fucking national religion.
Yes, Zach, yes. We are lifting people off the street and shipping them to camps in other countries with no trial or reason, just as Jesus taught us to. Right?
I would like, will this happen? If we can get control of the House hopefully the Senate too. Graham Plattner's shit notwithstanding. That fucking goddamn jackass. Anyway, the idea is if we can hold the Senate and House for 2 years after, and we can hold them so that they can't confirm any more Supreme Court justices, that's actually the goal. Fucking get in the Senate and get in the House and make them not be able to do shit for that.
Here's the other thing that's very difficult pill to swallow is that for decades now, it's been like, this election is important because of the Supreme Court. And then people started saying, you say that every election. It's like, it's always fucking true.
It's always true. Always.
It's
every
always
fucking
100%
election.
of the time it's true. It is always true. Take a look around, guys.
So here's the thing. So we have dipshit Kavanaugh, who never should have been confirmed. Amy Coney Barrett, I can't say she shouldn't have been confirmed. Her only thing is that her religion she lives by was the thing that Margaret Atwood based her The Handmaid's Tale on. So maybe not her.
I think that people who are deeply devoted or fanatical, I would call it fanatical, to specific religions that have a history of wanting certain things made legal or illegal should not serve on the Supreme Court.
Agreed. Samuel Leo should never have been confirmed, and he was part of this documentary because remember they were talking very loudly. There's one woman who did a whole thing in a religious ceremony, which is supposed to be not possible. They're not supposed to preach about religion from the pulpit, and they did, which we know they do all the time,
all the fucking time.
And they should not. They should not. That's actually a fucking thing that they should not, and they do. And she had a cutout of George W. Bush, and she made kids applaud,
pray to it, for it, but to it. Come on, it's fucking I forgot about that.
And they were like, "We need to have Alito on because he's going to help overturn." They said he's going to help overturn Roe v. Wade.
Oh, but that's never going to happen, Doug.
It's the same thing as Trump saying, "I have nothing to do with Project 2025." It's all bullshit. It's all lie. They're going to do what they're going to do. Russell Vogt, who that guy deserves to be dick punched into eternity, was like thrilled. Was like, we are halfway through with our agenda, and we are not even 2 years in. I'm like, this is the thing. Like you said at the beginning, if we ever control the reins, this is not a let's just return to normal. You need people that are willing to upset the fucking apple cart and be like, we're going to do some shit.
Here's the other thing, though, and I think it's important. I'm going to keep saying it. While Project 2025 was being shown to the voting public, there were people, not people lying, saying that's not going to happen because we don't actually want it to. I'm saying people on the left saying that's not really going to happen. It's not really going to happen. And here's the thing. It all fucking keeps happening, no matter how much you say it's not going to happen. There's this idea that like you can just fuck off and not give a shit. And the people who want to oppress you are going to be like, oh, well, if you don't want us to, we won't.
I think also the folks who, man, this pains me to say, because the folks who didn't vote or voted for a third-party candidate because of Palestine. I get where you're at. I really do. I get that that's a stand. The problem is you allowed the person who do get into office who's going to make it 50 times worse for Palestine.
And that is the thing, is that when you're given a choice between a government that is likely to continue it, but will also give a shit what the voting public thinks, or a government that's definitely going to continue it and also do all kinds of other oppressive shit and make it so that you don't even get to have an opinion anymore, the choice is kind of fucking clear. And I think the reason that a lot of this happens is because we live in this security blanket of like certain things are just not going to happen. So fascism is never going to come to the US because that's not who we are. It's been here. It's been here because everybody thinks that it just shows up one day, and they also think it looks a certain way. They think that it changes your daily life. It does not change your daily life until you were the target of something.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't change the daily life of any single person. The ICE raids have not changed the daily life of any single person who has not been taken by ICE or had a family member taken by ICE. Everybody else still gets up in the morning and goes to work.
Yeah.
Because we have to eat and we have to breathe and we have to whatever.
Pay for things.
We're here. We're here. We've been here. It's been growing. It's been continuing on. It's going to get worse. And it's going to get worse no matter who we elect next time. Because all this shit has to be undone. And we still see people who are in denial about where we are. We still see people who are in denial about when it started. Because if you tell yourself it started with Trump, then you just have to get Trump out and everything's okay.
Yep.
But we dropped in in the middle in this documentary. In the middle. Not at the beginning. Yeah, three fucking presidents between Reagan and G-Dub.
Yeah, I was having this discussion today or yesterday with a friend of mine, and I was like, so he made the point that W turned 80 this week, maybe yesterday or the day before. Clinton's 80,
right.
and Trump's 80.
Weird, right?
And
weird because we couldn't elect Kamala Harris because Joe Biden was too old.
Yeah. Also, I would like to point out that I said, well, one of those things is not like the other. And he thought I was talking about Clinton. I said, no, one of those.
One of them is president right now.
Yeah. Well, also one of them never sexually assaulted another woman that we're aware of. The other one was.
That's rough. I don't like that.
I don't like that either. Clinton was a shithead. He was a shithead. He was a decent president.
He was an okay president. I don't think I'd go as far as decent, but yeah.
He did a lot of things I didn't agree with, but Obama also did too. So like, there are things I liked about Obama, but like, there's not a single thing you can hang on Trump that said that was good. Not one. In W, you can't say that about anything that I can think of, maybe, but I also think
I will say this. There are things that Trump signed off on that were ultimately, or even just in concept, good, but they're small. They're little things. He's signing 50, 60, 70 things a day. So you only know about them if they affect you. And I only say that because I think it's important to remember that, like, you know, the same as there's people who idolize Obama, and it's like, guess what? He did a lot of really fucking shitty things. Really fucking shitty things. And at the end of the day, what we need to remember is it does not fucking matter if you agree with everything or you like the person or any of that. None of that matters. Because that's not, the way that some people view Obama, it's like if you view a politician that way, that's not accurate. Like, he comes across as a pretty cool guy. He comes across as a very likable guy. He did a lot of really good things for the country, but you know, he also started the drone program that killed tons of civilians.
Yep.
And I just, you have to take the good with the bad, because ultimately at the end of the day, every president is going to do something that you fucking hate. And every president is going to do one or two things that maybe you don't hate, whether you realize they did it or not.
Yeah.
We have to let go of the idolization, the idea that they have to be perfect and I have to agree with them on everything, because you're not being honest with yourself if you say you agree with the president on everything.
Yeah, unfortunately that is the case. So, all right.
I just noticed your little tag under your name.
I'm glad you noticed that now.
You specifically, yeah, you.
Yeah, fucking. Did you see the fucking thing at Wimbledon where all these people were dressed in white and it's really nice, and then the two guys from Depeche Mode showed up in just like black gear?
I did. That's so great.
And they're like, we're fucking Depeche Mode. Of course we're gonna show up in black. What are you talking about? But like, whatever.
Yeah.
So anything you want to talk about this documentary before we wrap up?
I just think, I think everybody, if you haven't seen it, if you watch this and you didn't watch that, go watch it, because I think it's important to understand that this stuff it's endemic. It's here. It's been here a long time. Small changes don't change this. This is happening, whether we like it or not. Hopefully you don't like it, but
Yeah.
Also be nice to your fucking kids. Just be nice to your kids. It's not hard. It should not be hard.
It should not be difficult to be nice to your kids and be like, hey, you're doing great. And then if you go, well, that was a mistake, but like, it's okay. We're going to work through it.
Yeah. You, my child, who I gave birth to, who adopted whatever, and I love you, are not inherently evil. No, Zach, just for you. Howdy, honey. I literally bought this at a honey shop. So
Yeah. So let's just clarify. Next month, we're going to be doing Bring Me the Beauties, which is a documentary about a cult around models.
Finding the news for this show was so hard because the vast majority of news that fell under like the cult tag was about this fucking documentary.
Yeah. So neither of us have watched this yet, but man, I'm looking forward to it. There's a few of this one, and I was like, "Can we watch this one?" You were like, "Absolutely!" So let's do that. So there's also another one that I'm not going to bring up that I think that we'll probably talk about in the future at some point. But
well, I'm excited.
Yeah, that is. I'll talk to you about it after we're done here. But yeah. At any rate, everybody, thanks so much for being here. Again, this was a tangent-driven stream because this fucking show, this documentary, was so difficult to just stick to because it was just disheartening and sad, and I just feel bad for these kids so much.
Well, it's also just like so many other things play into this, right?
For sure.
So many other things. Yeah.
Yeah. So at any rate,
that's why I was saying it says howdy honey, and I got it at a honey store.
Anyway, we'll see you folks next month. I want to say it is August 5th.
All right.
So hopefully I got that right. We'll see. Anyway, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We love you guys. Take care of yourselves. And we'll talk to you next month. Cheers.